Hi everyone, I hope you're really well. Yes, today we have best and worst of beauty for January. January has been such a weird month. It's been incredibly busy for me personally. I don't know what it's been like for you guys. And suddenly it's the end of January, or at least it is when I'm recording this. And yeah. I'm hoping that February is just going to be a little bit more calm and just not so hectic because, wow, has it been a month. So yeah, the start of 2018 has been interesting. A lot has happened and I'm really hoping that February is going to go really well and I'm going to have a fantastic month. That would be amazing. Anyway, enough of me being cryptically weird. Hopefully things will all explain themselves at some point. This video is all about my best and worst beauty picks for the month of January. I have been trying to limit myself. If you saw my skincare kind of declutter collection, whatever video that was that I created, I'm trying to be a little bit more restrained when it comes to all of the products that I've got and not just kind of grabbing random things. So I'm trying to keep to using the same thing consistently until it runs out. So I don't actually have a whole heap of stuff here to talk about because I haven't really been trying that much new stuff, even though I have tons of new stuff to try. It's all just organised and patiently waiting for me to get to it. So I've got a little bit of a collection of stuff here and I'm just going to go straight for the biggest thing that I've got, which is this brush set here. Now, this is actually two brush sets in one pot. There is another pot that goes with it as well, but when Tarte had their sale recently, these were an absolute steal. I can't remember how much they were. I did pick up two brush sets because I've always wanted to try Tarte brushes before. I've heard they're really good and they were a bit of a bargain and quite a few people picked them up from what I can remember from social media. And these brushes have actually been quite the pleasure to use. So much so that when they arrived, I've actually just been trying to use these for my full face and not use anything else, which is a challenge in itself. I'm conscious of the fact that this is actually two sets of brushes here, but it's been really nice actually to have an extra lot of particularly face brushes because I get a bit slack when it comes to washing them, and now that I've got spares, at least I can constantly be having some kind of rotation going. I like these brushes. These are quite small. And I'm just going to take my glasses off a moment. These two are actually from different packs from what I can remember from looking at the handles, even though they look quite similar. But these are really nice for sort of going under the eye area, maybe powdering around the nose, just making sure it gets into all the bits that you want it to. And then this one I've actually been using for highlight, because I have been using highlight a couple of times. Not very often, usually on the weekend, but just to apply a little bit of a highlight to the top of the cheekbones. So I've been really liking these brushes. This one in particular is really nice and dense and it's gorgeous. This one I have used a few times. It's a good blush brush if you quite like getting it in the right area and then kind of diffusing it out a little bit. So I do quite like that one, but again, I kind of prefer a softer blush brush. You could probably actually use this one for foundation because it's a little bit more movable, so I might give that one a go for foundation next. This one here I've not used a ton. I guess the idea behind the shape of this is it's actually ideal for doing a bit of contouring, which when I do contouring, and I have used this for contouring, thinking about it, it's quite good to be able to fit around the perimeter of your face, but I tend to prefer going for something a lot fluffier and going for a much more diffused look if I am indeed going to bother contouring, because it's a bit of a faff. But when you've done it, you actually sort of step back and think, I actually don't look too bad. So this one is quite nice for contouring. Not sure what else I would personally use it for. Then I've got these three little brushes here, which haven't really seen a lot of action just purely because I absolutely love my Zoeva eye brushes. I just keep grabbing for them. But you've got kind of a long blending brush here. This one's a bit of an odd shape. It's almost triangular. I suppose you could actually use that for concealer maybe. That might work quite nicely for concealer. And then this sort of shorter, stiffer eyeshadow brush. So I don't tend to reach for them massively, just purely because I much prefer my Zoeva brushes. And thinking about it just now, I think all of these are synthetic, whereas not all of the Zoeva ones are. But to be honest, I just really like my Zoeva eye brushes. They just blend so beautifully and they make doing eyeshadow for someone like me who, you know, isn't that great at it, it just makes it a lot easier. But I think I'll have a go using this one for concealer actually, because it's not amazingly flexible and it's quite short, and I can imagine that would blend concealer quite nicely. And then the last two I've got here do see a lot of action. So this first one I pretty much use for blush. I haven't really used it for anything else, although again you could probably use this one for contouring actually, because it's quite a nice shape. Sorry about the fact that these brushes are dirty, but it just goes to show that they do get used. But yeah, I think you probably could contour with this, but I just tend to reach for it for blush because I like the size of it. It fits in palettes really nicely. I like the size of it for going on the cheeks as well. It's quite long and really soft and flexible, so it just diffuses the blush really nicely. And I just find myself reaching for this one over and over again. So I really like this one. And then this last one is probably one of my favourites of the lot. It's an angled, quite fluffy brush, which just is so soft. And it's really flexible, bendy. Because of the shape of it, it goes underneath the eyes really nicely. So if you're powdering, you can actually get really quite close to your eyes without running the risk of poking yourself in the eye. That's not actually happened to me yet. But it just picks up powder beautifully and diffuses it over the face really nicely. And it feels beautiful to use. It's really soft. So I absolutely love those last two brushes. So it's nice to have quite a few Tarte brushes in my life, and I really like them. I think the quality is lovely. There haven't really been many shedding issues, although with some of them they did shed a little bit, but that seems to have calmed down now, so it might have just been a couple of loose ones. But I think if you can pick them up when they're on offer, I would definitely recommend checking them out because they look quite nice, they're well made, and they just do what you want them to do. So fabulous. We may as well stick with Tarte for the moment, and I may as well show you this blush palette that I picked up the same time as I picked up those brushes. And same with the brushes, I have basically been reaching for this every single day. I had my eye on this palette when it first came out. I think it was last year sometime, although it wasn't early on in the year. I think it was quite late on in the year. This is called the Blush Bliss palette, and initially I was really attracted to the design of it. I think Tarte do produce some really nice palettes generally, but blush palettes in particular always seem to catch my eye, and the design of this one just jumped out at me. I love this sort of cutaway design that almost looks like Moroccan-esque or something. And then the blushes themselves, this one is lovable, this one is graceful, this one is breathtaking, and this one here is genuine. And the two out of this whole palette that I don't really get a huge amount of use out of is this one here, because it is quite nudey, although on my skin it's slightly more pink than it is nude, so it's not as bad as some nudes I've got. I do love the idea of a nude blush, but I just think they look horrible on me, so that one I've not reached for massively. And then this one here I've not reached for massively, just purely because it's got a luster to it. There is a glitter running through it, which is fine, but then you kind of have quite glowy cheeks. And if you're not really after that look, and I'm certainly not after that look on the daily, then you're going to be getting it. It's not chunky glitter, it is just kind of glowy glitter. It is pretty, but the two colours I mean, I'm so predictable now when it comes to blush. I really don't need any more blush in my life because I have so many that fall into the kind of reddy, pinky, cool pinky spectrum. It's actually ridiculous. But this one I love. And then if I'm feeling a little bit more like I want something a bit more obvious on my cheeks, I really, really like this one. And it's that one that I've actually got on today. So you can see that you obviously can wear it quite subtle. And like with all Tarte blushes that I have certainly encountered, the staying power is really good. You get really good value for money. Just a quick little dip in there with a brush, pop it on. A little bit really does go a long way. And they're just a beautiful, beautiful formula of blush. So really happy to have this in my life, and I'll probably be using more of these two colours that I mentioned I wasn't getting a lot of use out of in the sort of summertime when I want to go for something maybe a little bit less obvious, a much more natural kind of makeup look, even though what I wear is quite natural anyway. But do you know what I mean? Just something fresh and glowy and quite subtle. But I have used this one here. It does actually look really pretty on the skin, very glowy and radiant. It's just that I cannot resist a pink or a kind of reddy blush. I just love them. I think it's because I've got quite a dark hair colour and I like my cheeks to really kind of stand out. So I've been really loving using this, and I've actually not picked up any other blush at all since this arrived, which I think says quite a lot really, because I have a lot of blushes. Next up I have this face cream here from Elemis. This is the Pro-Collagen Marine Cream, and there's 15ml in here. There is still some left, it still seems to be going quite well. I've not been using it every day because when I did that skincare video, I think I said I was going to use this and then the Liz Earle Light moisturiser. No, it's not the light one, it's the other one, isn't it? I picked a Liz Earle moisturiser as well for normal to oily skin, I think it was. And I've kind of spent the month going back and forth between the two. This one I wanted to talk about, however, because of how amazingly expensive this stuff is. I thought I would just do a quick check online just to make sure I got my facts straight. And according to the actual Elemis website, what size is that? Is it 50ml? A 50ml pot of this will set you back £82. Just let that sink in for a minute. It's a skincare pun there. £82. And I know I've seen it cheaper than this. I've seen it anywhere upwards from sort of £50. And I suppose if it popped up on QVC, you could get it on Easy Pay or something. But at the end of the day, I have to stop myself and say, I like it, but do I £82 like it? And the answer is no. £82. I mean, come on. This was a really good sized tube for me to use, and I have really, really enjoyed using this. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful moisturiser. It's the kind of moisturiser that, particularly when you have oily and sort of combo skin where I've got dry bits, I've got aged bits, I've got a lot going on, generally the oiliness is what the issue is. This feels as though it deals with the oiliness, so it doesn't make you excessively oily, it doesn't feel greasy at all, it feels very light and just pleasant on the skin in a way that it's actually taking care of your skin. It looks after your kind of aged, crepey bits from your wrinkles and stuff. It doesn't accentuate dryness. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful face cream. But honestly, it's so, so expensive. And I've seen quite a few people who got the Look Fantastic Beauty Advent Calendar, which this was in, have fallen in love with it, which I can understand is easy when maybe you're thinking it's, I don't know, £40 for the full size. I'm not really that up on Elemis, so if you were a little bit more aware than what I am, then maybe you'd realise it was expensive. But quite a few people fell in love with it, knew it was probably going to be a bit pricey, but then when they looked it up, They were absolutely horrified, and the amount of comments I've seen from people online where they're gutted because they love it, but they just can't afford it. And it's that tricky thing, I think, with beauty boxes, where I think a lot of the time they are trying to hook us onto these amazing products that exist, and we fall in love with it, it runs out, and then we're kind of like, oh, I don't think I can live without it, and I really, really want to replace it. And I just think it was a bit of a funny choice to put it in the beauty advent calendar. I don't know, because on the flip side of that argument, there's also the fact that sometimes it's nice to have a treat and actually try amazing skin things, which I know I certainly wouldn't be able to afford on a regular basis at all. So it is actually quite nice to try these ultra special, amazing face products. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about this whole situation. I can see both sides of it, I guess. But I am not going to be picking this up, even if I manage to get it for £50. It's a beautiful moisturiser, but I think when you're in the territory of potentially spending that much money, there's so much out there that could do so much for your skin that I just want to try other stuff first. And I've mentioned this before, there is another moisturiser that I had a sample of that I really, really liked, and it was on offer a little while ago, and I could have picked it up for about £40, I think. It was in the sale, and I was gutted I didn't pick it up because it didn't last very long. It disappeared. Everyone else obviously realised what a bargain it was, because I would have really liked to have tried that and just seen how I'd got on with it, because I think £40, you know, that's kind of like expensive foundation price, but if it's going to do lovely things for your skin and really take good care of your skin, then it's got to be worth it. And then hopefully you might end up finding some makeup that can go on top that's actually not quite as expensive, because you probably should be spending more on skincare than makeup, because if you're looking after your skin, the chances are you're going to be needing less makeup, and that's the point that I want to get to ultimately. But really, it was lovely to have tried it, and I have enjoyed it, and there is still some left for me to use, but I really cannot see me picking this up. I can't see it happening. It's just so expensive. Speaking of expensive, and actually also from the Look Fantastic Beauty Advent Calendar, I have been using this pretty much every single night. Sometimes I don't use it at all, but this is the Dr. Botanicals Moroccan Rose Superfood Facial Oil, and just like the Elemis moisturiser, I saw a lot of people talking about this on social media, saying they fell in love with it, but oh my goodness, was it expensive. This is half the full size, it's just 15ml, but the full size is £55, and I've probably used just under half of it. And the way that I've been using it is when I'm doing my nighttime skincare routine, this is one of the last steps. So at first I was just putting this on my skin after I'd cleansed and toned. I was putting this on, and I was finding it quite difficult to kind of move around my face, because it says it's an oil, but it's not really. It's not like a conventional oil texture. It kind of either gets absorbed into the skin really quickly, or I don't know, it just feels kind of dry. It's like almost like water-like in property. If you were going to try and move water around your face, the skin just kind of sucks it in, and it can be quite difficult to move around. And it wasn't just me that was having this issue. Again, I saw other people having conversations about this on social media, how to use it, and someone made a suggestion to mix it into your nighttime moisturiser, and I thought, what a great idea. I can still get the benefits of the product, I can be using the amount that you're supposed to, because I was finding myself using a ton just trying to spread it around my face. And I suppose really, to cut a long story short, I've really not noticed this doing anything for my skin at all. I'm going through a particularly horrible skin time at the moment, which doesn't help, but I've really not noticed anything special about this. It kind of feels a little bit gimmicky, but I've read reviews about this and people love this stuff. One of the things I really do like about it, and this is quite silly really, but The actual product itself, you can hopefully see there, is pink, so it's very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. The packaging is okay, but I've seen other products that are, you know, as expensive as this, where the packaging is that little bit more special. So I'm kind of going to go out on a limb and assume that all of the money is in the product itself. I could be completely wrong there, it's just my assumption. But it's just a bit strange, and it's got a really kind of perfumey quality to it. It is just like a perfume, like quite a subtle perfume. So I'm really not sure about this one. I find it a bit odd, and I'd like to think that for the money I would have noticed a bigger difference in my skin somehow. I've seen some people rave about it and reckon they've noticed a significant difference in their skin, but I definitely haven't. So I will continue to use this up until it's gone before I reach back into my skincare area of shame. It's not really a drawer anymore. I've got it split up all over the place. But before I replace it with something else, and some nights I will use the Emma Hardy Brilliance Facial Oil if I feel like something a little bit more actually oily, because like I said, this feels quite drying. So I don't know, has anyone else got this and used it and is loving it? Am I just not getting it? Is my skin maybe just not compatible with it or something? It just is a bit weird. And I'd like to think that if I bought this for myself, I would be noticing that £55, because so far I'm just not. And I know that there are some beautiful products out there like Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair. I really enjoy using that, and I've got some little ones in my room, so I'm looking forward to using those at some point once this has run out. But you do notice the difference with your skin with that, whereas with this, I'm just not getting it. Not getting it at all. And then the last product I have got to talk about here is a lip balm. It's a lip balm I've always wanted to try, however, it's very expensive. I think there's been a bit of a running theme with this month in terms of expensive products that I wouldn't normally have in my life, but thanks to Look Fantastic's beauty advent calendar and sales where they sell Christmas products, then you can pick these things up. And what this little pot is, and I actually have a couple of these, is the By Terry Baume de Rose lip balm, which was invented by accident. There is a really interesting story behind this, but it's supposed to be like the ultimate lip treatment balm thing. I think this stuff is like £40. I'm sure it's £39 normally to buy, and it's this lovely sort of light pink looking, yeah, it does look like a balm, I suppose, but it's a bit strange. It's fragranced, so it's got a real kind of rosy fragrance to it. It's probably not going to be accurate right now because I've already got a little bit of subtle colour on my lips. But as you can probably see, it leaves quite a lot of shine on the lips, which is nice. But it's definitely got this kind of perfumey rose quality, which I have just about got used to. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm kind of like, I can tolerate it. It's pleasant, but it's such a huge amount of money for essentially a lip balm. And I do really like it, but I don't like it to the point that I would want to rush out and get the full size. If I could pick it up in the sale like I did with this was just on its own. It was like a Christmas tree decoration, and I think originally they were £20 for this size, and this is 3 grams. 3 grams for £20, and it was in the sale for 10, and I thought now is my chance to try this cult lip product, 3 gram lip product for £10, although to be fair, I do use it quite a lot and there is still quite a lot left in here. I do like it, I do definitely like it, but I'm just not sure I'd want to rush out and spend all that money. So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is, if I managed to pick it up when it was on offer, like the offer would have to be really good, then I would be tempted. But it feels really nice, it's very moisturising, very hydrating. It leaves your lips feeling wonderful. I do definitely love reaching for this and using it quite a lot, you know, as often as I can. I've got this pot at home, I've got a pot that goes with me in my handbag as well, and it does get a lot of use. It's just the price tag I'm really struggling with, because I'm kind of comparing it to, probably unfairly, a fresh sugar lip treatment, which is that little bit more convenient, and it also feels very hydrating and pleasant on the lips as well. But they are two very different things. This is very much more of like a glossy treatment balm, which is doing lovely things for your lips, but it's definitely leaving this kind of high shine look. Whereas a fresh sugar lip treatment, obviously you can have a colourless one, or you can go for all of the different colours that they do, and it is more of a traditional kind of balm texture. It's thicker, it lasts a really long time. It's a bit of an odd one, and it's really hard to describe. If you are able to go to Feel Unique's pick and mix service, which I know isn't available worldwide, but as of this morning, they have actually got this as a sample available on their pick and mix service. So check it out and let me know what you think, because it is a lovely, lovely lip kind of treatment balm thing, but it's just so expensive. I mean, fresh sugar lip treatments I thought were expensive at like 20 odd pounds, but this is double the price. Although, to be fair, in terms of size and how much product you're getting, I think you do actually get a lot more with this one. So yeah, I have really enjoyed using this, but I'm conscious of the fact that I don't really want to be recommending a £39 lip balm, because that just sounds nuts. So if you can get hold of a sample, do, and let me know what you think of it. Or if this is a product you've already tried and you have an opinion that's a little bit better formulated than mine, then let me know in the comments. I would be really curious to see what you guys think of it as well. So that is it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I'm hoping I can edit this into some kind of cohesive sense, because I feel like I've rambled a little bit and my opinions haven't been all that helpful, so apologies about that. It's obviously just one of those days today. But anyway, I hope you're all really well, and I will see you again soon. Bye!